Ariel Hyatt.
Yes, and in this episode of Sound Advice, we are talking about our new book, The Musician's Roadmap to Facebook and Twitter. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about Twitter basics. So, Ariel, give me some Twitter basics.
One thing I realized, especially since I meet a lot of musicians, and I'll often say things to them like, well, what's your Twitter handle? And they will look at me completely blank-faced. So what I realized is we are not born with the innate knowledge of Twitter basics. And it really doesn't explain well on Twitter if you go and sign up. So we're going to take you through some of the basic, simple principles of Twitter so that you understand how to use it.
So what is a Twitter handle?
A Twitter handle is when you see that thing that's the @ sign, like in your email address, and then your Twitter name. So for example, you are
Carla Lynn Hall.
And I am
CyberPR.
Right. And so if you wanted to follow me, or if you asked me what my Twitter handle is, I would say CyberPR. And how you find yourself on Twitter is you go to twitter.com/ and then your Twitter handle. So if I wanted to go to your page, I would go twitter.com/ Carla Lynn Hall. So,
easy.
Yeah, that's Twitter handle. The next basic I want to take you through is something very simple that people really are falling down on and getting a bit lost with. And that is what the heck an RT or a retweet is. So in Twitter, one of the main things that you can do and one of the main activities you can take when you log in is you can retweet other tweets that you like. So let's say you read something that you think is extremely amusing or funny, like just today I saw a tweet, it was from the Jimmy Kimmel show, and it was Josh Groban singing Kanye tweets.
Oh, I saw that.
And I thought it was hilarious, and I wanted to share that tweet and that link with my community. So I pressed the retweet button and I retweeted Jimmy Kimmel's tweet.
Oh, so it's sort of like you're quoting.
Exactly. It's like you're quoting and you're giving credit where credit's due.
Excellent.
That's a retweet. The next thing to talk about is @replies.
@replies. That's when you find out who's either talking to you on Twitter or talking about you on Twitter. Is that correct?
That's totally correct. So if you wanted to talk to someone who maybe is not following you, I could @ you and go @Carla Lynn Hall. Hey Carla, I loved your new book. Congratulations. And you could @ me back, @CyberPR. Thanks so much. That is a public recognition. I'm talking to you, you're talking to me. That's an @reply.
You know, and that's actually really helpful because if you were following me and say I didn't know right away, if you said something to me, I would find it a lot quicker than if I just waited. So thank you. That's good.
Do you want to talk about direct messages and what those are and how those work?
Oh, well, sure. Direct messages are the private messages. That's when you're sending an @reply to someone or an @message, but it's only between you and that person. But you can only send direct messages to people who are following you. So if they're not following you, you can't send them a direct message. You can't send them anything private.
Exactly. So if I'm following you and you're following me back, and let's say we're going to meet up at a club or we're out, and I'm driving around and I'm lost, I can tweet a direct message to you, which will go to your phone if you have that set up, and that's not for public consumption.
Exactly.
And so direct messages are very useful if you're trying to communicate with someone and you're trying to say something that's private, or maybe you want to give them a phone number or an email address. You don't want the whole world to see it.
Or like flirty messages. I get some of those.
Flirty messages are good done in private.
Exactly. Okay.
This is Ariel.
And this is Carla.
And this has been the Musician's Roadmap to Facebook and Twitter. Twitter Basics, Part 1.